Hello again and welcome to another fun Mont Marte art lesson. Now today's lesson is on pastels, but I'm going to bend the rules a little bit because you don't always need to follow traditional methods. That's the wonderful thing about art. So I'm going to try something a little bit different, and that difference may change the way you use and think about pastels. You see, I have worked out a way to prepare a canvas so it accepts pastel. So you have a very robust painting surface and you're not limited to paper sizing. It also means you can directly do an artwork and whack it straight up on the wall. So here's how you do it. So I place a whole pastel into a vessel and then crush it with the handle of a gesso brush. This is the first step of the process. Just keep crushing it up until it's uber fine. When it looks like this, put it aside. So I'm using the single thick today because I love the thin profile, but you could use any canvas for this. Now I have to apply a thick coat of gesso. For this project I'm using Mont Marte black gesso, and I'm applying it with a number 6 gesso brush. So when you apply gesso with a brush, you'll notice that I'm just doing little diagonal strokes to build up the tone. Wow, look at that great textured surface. That's just what we want. That'll provide good tooth for the pastels. Paint the whole canvas like this. So now let's put our pastel dust on. Just dip the brush in like that and paint it on. This works best if the gesso is still a little wet. Distribute the powder all over the canvas. Looks messy, huh? But that's just what we want. So let's put the second coat on now. Lay the second coat on thick. So this second coat is what spreads all the particles relatively evenly across the surface. You could add another coat to give it even more texture and then leave it to dry. Well, that's nice and dry. The last step in the process is to give it a sand, then we're ready to paint. This is easy, just sand in small circles. Now the only dimensional image in this project is the boat, and we have provided a downloadable PDF on our website for your reference. Just follow the links below. I have roughed in the general outline of the boat with a white charcoal pencil, and I'm suggesting shadow areas and other points of interest. Well, that's our drawing done. Now let's create this dramatic sky. And for my sky, I want brilliant, bright, vibrant colours. So I'm using the ultra soft pastels. I've used them a few times before and I absolutely love them. First I lay in a rough semicircular-ish cloud bank in macadamia nut yellow. Then I lay in some cockatoo crest yellow into the middle and then surround it in some numbat sienna. A little koala grey along the horizon. Now just use your finger to create that nice blend. And the good thing about pastels is you just build up layer upon layer, so don't worry if the first layer doesn't look fantastic. I have intensified the hues here by layering the same colours on top, and have added kangaroo paw red along the base of the clouds. I now add more koala grey and purple to depict the atmospheric fluffiness of those low-lying clouds. I add pure white now to suggest the sun's diffused light behind those heavy, ominous clouds. Just look at the way the colours play on that surface. It has such a textural quality. A little more purple and the sunset's really starting to take shape. Lovely. Now let's do the reflection. Just use the same colours you used in the sky. Now I like to think of the water as a mirror, so I lay the appropriate colour directly below its source. I apply the pigment with stabbing strokes to suggest the way light plays on the water's surface. I then blend the colours a bit to deaden them, to create a soft undercoat. Remember, reflections are always less vibrant than their source. I then accent the main light source, the sun. Well, our background is done. Now let's work on our foreground. And the colours that I'll be using are fittingly Terra Australis and Stringy Bark. So let's paint this foreground. I apply my pigment in a light sketchy fashion. I feel this helps convey the feeling of fine sand. Oh no, what are you doing? Breaking your pastel like that? Yes, I used to try and baby my pastels so they wouldn't break, and I think it affected the way I used them. I was afraid to be bold in case my beautiful perfect pastel might be broken in the process. I break them in half now and I find it empowering. So now I add some stringy bark over the Terra Australis and into the shadow area. I then smooth it all in with my finger. So let's move on to our boat now, and the first colour I'm using is Bondi Blue. This blue just looks so vibrant on the black. Lay the blue in this shape. I'm just putting in a little bit of dry day sky now on the light parts of the hull. Paint in these areas and then smooth them in with your finger. Now I apply some Kosciuszko white and some Cumulonimbus blue onto the top plane of the boat. I now bring some colour in and add desert sand into the mix. I love this colour, it ties the composition together as well. I accent with a bit of stringy bark for the same reason, and then add purple in for a bit of warmth into the shadows. Now I move to the hull and lay in a coat of stringy bark. Leave the shadow area free of pigment. I'm now going to put a very light orange over the top of this brown, and this really makes an impact. Don't cover the whole area, let that stringy bark colour show through. Let's tie it all together, and for that we use a soft black charcoal pencil. So I'm going to put it in all the areas that need defining and the joins. As I do this, I take care not to overdo it and not to contaminate any colours. Well, there you have it, the finished product. There. So you can see that pastels don't have to just be pastel. They can be vibrant too. And you can create a pastel painting any size you like now. Just remember to be experimental. Until next time, keep on painting.